There's a saying that might seem harsh, but it holds a certain truth: hide your emotions, because no one cares now. Before you let the weight of those words settle too deeply, let me unpack what this really means. It's not a call to shut yourself off from the world or to suppress your feelings. Instead, it's a reminder that we live in a world that doesn't always understand or honor the depth of our emotions. And when we allow the world to dictate how we feel, we risk losing control of the very thing that makes us human: our hearts and our minds. Emotions are powerful. They're the drivers of our actions, the pulse behind our dreams, and sometimes the weight that pulls us down. But here's the truth: not everyone will empathize with what you're going through. Not everyone will take the time to understand your struggles. Some people will dismiss your feelings, while others might use them against you. Does that mean you should bury your emotions and pretend they don't exist? Absolutely not. What it means is that you need to learn how to protect your emotions, where to place them, and who deserves to see them. The reality of emotional indifference is something that can feel harsh and disheartening at first glance, but it holds a profound truth that can empower us if we choose to embrace it. In life, there are moments when we long for someone to understand what we're going through, to see our struggles, feel our pain, and offer comfort. But the truth is, not everyone has the capacity, the awareness, or even the desire to step into our emotional space. It's not necessarily because they're cold or uncaring sometimes. It's simply because they're caught up in their own challenges, their own fears, and their own battles. When we expect others to care for our emotions in the way we hope, we place ourselves in a vulnerable position. We hand over our emotional balance to forces outside of our control. If their reaction doesn't meet our expectations, we end up hurt, disappointed, and sometimes feeling even more alone than before. But this reality isn't something to fear or resent, it's something to understand. Because once you recognize that the world may not always cater to your emotional needs, you can begin to take back the power over your own heart. Understanding emotional indifference doesn't mean you stop caring about people or assume no one will ever care about you. It simply means you shift your focus inward. Instead of seeking validation and understanding from the outside, you begin to nurture a deep well of self-compassion within. You learn that while others may not always notice your struggles, you have the strength to face them on your own. That knowledge is not a burden, it's freedom. Freedom comes when you realize that you are not dependent on someone else's acknowledgement to feel whole. You don't need someone to validate your feelings to make them real. Your emotions are real because you feel them, and they matter because they're part of who you are. But here's the secret: not everyone is equipped to handle the depth of your heart. And that's okay. Their indifference doesn't diminish your value. In fact, the realization that not everyone will care can be a gift. It teaches you to be selective about where you place your emotions and who you entrust with your vulnerabilities. It helps you identify those rare people in your life who truly see you and cherish your heart. And until you find those people, it reminds you to be that source of care for yourself. When you embrace this truth, you stop expecting things from others that they may not be capable of giving. You stop being disappointed by their lack of understanding and start focusing on building your inner strength. This doesn't mean you become closed off or unfeeling. On the contrary, it means you become wise. You learn to discern when and where to open your heart and when to hold it close. There is incredible power in realizing that your emotions don't have to be validated by someone else to have meaning. You don't have to shout your pain from the rooftops or demand that others see your tears. You can honor your emotions privately, processing them in ways that heal and strengthen you rather than leaving you vulnerable to judgment or misunderstanding. This isn't about bottling up your feelings or pretending they don't exist. It's about holding your emotions in a sacred space where they can be nurtured and understood by you. You are your own safe space. You have the capacity to offer yourself the care and compassion that others may fail to give. And when you do, you become stronger, more resilient, and more in control of your emotional world. Life will always present moments of pain and joy, triumph and struggle. How you handle those emotions will define your journey. Instead of waiting for the world to care, you take the reins. You decide that your emotions are valid, even if no one else acknowledges them. You decide that your feelings matter, even if the world seems indifferent. When you reach this place of understanding, you stop being shaken by the opinions or reactions of others. You no longer feel the need to prove your pain or broadcast your struggles. You carry your emotions with quiet strength, processing them in ways that empower you rather than weaken you. And in doing so, you teach the world a silent but powerful lesson that strength isn't in how loudly you cry or how desperately you seek validation. Strength is in your ability to honor your emotions while maintaining control of your heart. Strength is in your ability to rise above indifference and live with a sense of peace and confidence that no one can take away. When you encounter moments where it feels like no one cares, remember this: your emotions are not for the world to validate. They are for you to honor. They are a part of your humanity, a part of your story, and they are meant to guide you, not be dictated by the reactions of others. That realization is where true freedom and strength are found. Your emotions are personal and powerful, and they belong to you. Too often we hand over the keys to our hearts, expecting others to understand, validate, or even carry the weight of our feelings. But the truth is, not everyone has the capacity to hold what you carry. That's why it's so important to recognize the sacred nature of your emotions and treat them as something valuable and deeply personal. When you understand that your emotions are your own, you begin to see them not as something to be shared indiscriminately, but as treasures to be guarded and honored. Think about this: your emotions are like a fire. In the right hands, they can bring warmth, light, and power. But in the wrong hands, they can be misused, misunderstood, or even extinguished. The world around you may not always know how to handle the fire inside you, and that's okay. The responsibility isn't theirs, it's yours. You hold the power to decide where your emotions are expressed, who gets to see them, and how they are used to shape your journey. When you embrace the fact that your emotions belong to you, it changes the way you approach life. No longer do you feel the need to over-explain yourself to others. You stop seeking approval or understanding from people who may never fully grasp what you're going through. Instead, you find strength in knowing that your emotions are valid because they are yours. You don't need anyone else to confirm that your feelings are real or justified. The very fact that they exist is proof enough. This isn't about isolating yourself or keeping everything bottled up. It's about knowing when and where to open your heart. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your emotional world. Some people may misuse your trust, while others might lack the empathy to offer the support you need. That's why it's so important to be intentional about who you let into that sacred space. Being selective about sharing your emotions doesn't mean you're being cold or unkind. It means you're being wise. You're choosing to protect your heart from situations and people that may harm it. You're recognizing that not everyone will appreciate the depth of your feelings, and that's okay. Your emotions are still valuable, even if they're not understood by everyone around you. This wisdom extends beyond protecting your emotions. It's about channeling them effectively. Emotions are incredibly powerful, and when used wisely, they can be a source of strength and transformation. Instead of letting your emotions control you, you can use them to fuel your growth and purpose. When you're hurt, let that pain motivate you to heal and rise stronger. When you're joyful, let that joy inspire you to spread kindness and gratitude. Your emotions are tools, and in your hands, they can build something extraordinary. But to use them wisely, you must first understand them. Take the time to sit with your emotions, reflect on where they come from and what they're teaching you. Every emotion, whether it's joy or sorrow, anger or peace, has something to reveal about who you are and where you're going. When you approach your emotions with curiosity rather than judgment, you begin to see them as allies rather than obstacles. There's a beautiful strength in this approach. When you own your emotions and treat them as personal and powerful, you're no longer swayed by the opinions or reactions of others. You stand firm in who you are, knowing that your emotions don't need external validation to matter. This kind of confidence is unshakable, and it allows you to navigate life with grace and resilience. Your emotions are not a sign of weakness. They are a testament to your humanity. They are what make you unique, what connect you to others, and what give your life depth and meaning. But to fully harness their power, you must first take responsibility for them. You must decide how they are expressed and who gets to see them. And in doing so, you take back control of your emotional world. When you honor your emotions in this way, you unlock their full potential. You stop seeing them as something to hide or suppress and start recognizing them as a source of wisdom and strength. This shift doesn't just change how you view your emotions, it changes how you view yourself. You begin to see yourself as someone who is capable, resilient, and worthy of care and respect. And in this understanding, you find peace. You no longer carry the burden of needing others to validate your feelings. You no longer feel the pressure to explain or justify your emotions. Instead, you carry them with quiet confidence, knowing that they are yours to own, to honor, and to use for good. So embrace the truth that your emotions are personal and powerful. Guard them, nurture them, and use them to shape the life you want to live. You are stronger than you know, and your emotions are a part of that strength. Trust yourself, honor your heart, and let your emotions guide you toward growth and purpose. There's a strength that comes from being selective about where you place your emotions and who gets to see them. Not everyone in your life deserves access to your heart. This might sound harsh, but it's wisdom that can protect you and guide you through life's challenges. When you share your emotions with the wrong people, you open yourself up to judgment, misunderstanding, or even exploitation. But when you're intentional about where and with whom you share, you not only guard your heart, you empower yourself. Life is full of people who are quick to give opinions, pass judgment, or dismiss your feelings altogether. They may mean well, but not everyone has the capacity to offer you the support or understanding you need. That's why it's so important to identify those who have proven themselves trustworthy. These are the people who genuinely care about your well-being, who listen without judgment, and who offer guidance or comfort when you need it. But here's the thing, not everyone will fit that description. And that's okay. Your emotions are precious, and it's up to you to protect them. When you recognize the value of your feelings, you stop handing them over to just anyone. You begin to understand that sharing your heart is not an obligation, it's a choice. And it's a choice that should be made with wisdom. Being selective about where you place your emotions isn't about shutting people out or building walls around yourself. It's about creating boundaries that keep you emotionally safe. Boundaries aren't barriers, they're protections. They allow you to navigate relationships with clarity and confidence. They ensure that your heart is shared in places where it will be honored, not trampled. Imagine your emotions as a delicate flame. When you expose that flame to harsh winds, it flickers and risks going out. But when you shield it, when you protect it and nurture it, that flame can grow into a steady, powerful light. Your emotions work the same way. When you expose them to the wrong people or situations, they can be diminished or misunderstood. But when you choose wisely, your emotions can become a source of strength and guidance. There is wisdom in knowing who deserves to see the deepest parts of your heart. It's not about withholding or pretending to be something you're not. It's about honoring yourself enough to know that your emotions are sacred. You don't have to broadcast your struggles to the world to prove your strength. Strength is found in the quiet confidence of knowing your worth and being intentional about how you share your heart. At the same time, being selective doesn't mean you isolate yourself. We all need connection. We all need people who will stand with us during difficult times. But those connections should be built on trust, mutual respect, and genuine care. Not everyone will meet those criteria, and that's not a reflection of you, it's a reality of life. Recognizing this truth helps you navigate relationships with wisdom and grace. When you share your emotions with the right people, something powerful happens. You find support, encouragement, and a sense of connection that lifts you up. These are the moments when you realize that vulnerability, when placed in the right hands, is not a weakness, it's a strength. It's a bridge that connects hearts and builds deeper relationships. But the opposite is also true. When you share your emotions with the wrong people, it can lead to disappointment, hurt, or even betrayal. That's why discernment is so important. Not everyone is equipped to handle your heart, and that's okay. You don't need everyone to understand or agree with you. You just need a few trusted individuals who truly care. This discernment doesn't come from a place of fear or distrust, it comes from a place of wisdom. It's about knowing that your emotions are valuable and treating them as such. It's about recognizing that not every relationship requires deep emotional investment. Some connections are meant to be light and surface level, while others are meant to be profound and life-giving. This discernment doesn't come from a place of fear or distrust, it comes from a place of wisdom. It's about knowing that your emotions are valuable and treating them as such. It's about recognizing that not every relationship requires deep emotional investment. Some connections are meant to be light and surface level, while others are meant to be profound and life-giving. When you approach your emotions with this mindset, you free yourself from the pressure to please everyone or to explain yourself to those who don't matter. You stop seeking approval from people who may never give it, and you start focusing on the relationships and spaces that truly nourish your soul. This kind of intentionality brings peace. You no longer feel the need to prove your feelings to the world. You carry your emotions with confidence, knowing that they are yours to own and honor. You build a life where your heart is protected, your relationships are meaningful, and your emotional world is a source of strength, not vulnerability. Being selective about where you place your emotions is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. It's about valuing yourself enough to choose wisely. It's about protecting your heart while still remaining open to the beauty of connection. And when you live this way, you find a sense of peace and strength that no one can take away. Protecting your vulnerabilities is not about putting up walls or shutting yourself off from the world. It's about understanding the precious value of your emotions and ensuring they are handled with care. Your heart is a sacred space, and not everyone is meant to have access to it. There's strength in safeguarding your emotions, not as a way to hide who you are, but as a way to honor the depth of your feelings and ensure they are shared with people who truly deserve to know you. Life has a way of teaching us this truth through experience. Maybe you've shared something deeply personal, only to have it dismissed or misunderstood. Maybe you've been vulnerable with someone who didn't treat your heart with the care it deserved. Those moments can leave scars, but they also teach wisdom. They remind us to be mindful of where and with whom we place our trust. Protecting your vulnerabilities doesn't mean you're weak or afraid. In fact, it's a sign of great strength and self-awareness. It takes courage to acknowledge that not everyone has your best interests at heart. It takes wisdom to know when to open up and when to hold back. This isn't about living in fear of being hurt. It's about living in a way that honors your emotional well-being. When you protect your vulnerabilities, you're not denying your emotions, you're respecting them. You're recognizing that your feelings are valuable and deserve to be treated with care. Think of it like a treasure chest. The treasures inside are precious, and you wouldn't leave that chest open for anyone to take from or misuse. Your heart works the same way. It's not about locking it away forever. It's about ensuring that only those who truly value it have access. The people we expect to handle our emotions with care may fall short. It might be friends, family, or even those we've trusted deeply. But their inability to meet our emotional needs isn't a reflection of our worth, it's a reflection of their capacity. Everyone has their own struggles, limitations, and perspectives, and not everyone is equipped to handle your vulnerability. That's why it's so important to discern who has the capacity to hold space for your heart. Boundaries play a key role in this process. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out, they're about defining what is acceptable and what isn't. They're about protecting your emotional health while still maintaining meaningful connections. When you set boundaries, you're saying, I value my heart and I choose to share it with those who will honor it. That kind of clarity doesn't just protect you, it also strengthens your relationships, allowing them to flourish in healthy and balanced ways. There's a misconception that protecting your vulnerabilities means you're being guarded or untrusting, but that couldn't be further from the truth. It's about being intentional. It's about understanding that not everyone will appreciate the depth of your emotions, and that's okay. You're not responsible for making everyone understand your heart. Your responsibility is to honor your feelings and ensure they are shared in spaces where they will be met with care and respect. When you protect your vulnerabilities, you also give yourself the space to process your emotions in healthy ways. Instead of seeking validation from others, you begin to find strength within yourself. You learn to sit with your feelings, reflect on them, and use them as a source of growth. This kind of self-awareness allows you to navigate life with confidence, knowing that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. There's power in holding your emotions close and choosing carefully where they are expressed. It's not about pretending to be unaffected or putting on a facade. It's about knowing that your feelings are sacred and not everyone has earned the right to see them. This kind of strength is quiet, but it's also unshakable. It allows you to move through life with grace, even in the face of challenges. When you honor your vulnerabilities, you begin to attract people who value them as much as you do. You create relationships that are built on trust, respect, and mutual care. These are the connections that truly nourish your soul and provide the support you need during life's difficult moments. Protecting your vulnerabilities is not about shutting down, it's about rising above. It's about living with intention, knowing that your heart is too valuable to be left unguarded. You have the power to decide how your emotions are expressed and who gets to share in them. And in that decision, you find strength, peace, and freedom. As you navigate life's ups and downs, remember to honor your vulnerabilities. Protect them not out of fear, but out of love and respect for yourself. Trust that by doing so, you're creating a life where your emotions are treated with the care they deserve and where you can thrive with confidence and grace. Your emotions are a powerful part of who you are. They give depth to your experiences, connect you to others, and shape the way you see the world. But emotions are also delicate, and if you're not careful, they can become burdensome when they're mishandled or misinterpreted. That's why learning to manage your emotions effectively is such an important part of living a fulfilling and resilient life. It's not about suppressing how you feel, but about channeling your emotions into growth and understanding. Managing your emotions starts with acknowledging them. There's no strength in denying what's in your heart. When you ignore your emotions, they don't disappear, they often grow stronger, demanding your attention in ways that can disrupt your peace. Instead, take time to sit with your feelings, understand what they're trying to tell you, and recognize that they're a part of your human experience. Every emotion carries a message. Whether it's joy, sadness, anger, or hope, each feeling is a signal pointing you towards something deeper. Joy might remind you of what matters most, while sadness might invite you to let go of something that's no longer serving you. Anger can reveal boundaries that need to be set, and hope can guide you toward a brighter future. When you take time to listen to your emotions, they stop feeling like overwhelming forces and start becoming valuable teachers. But here's the key: while emotions are important, they're not always accurate. Just because you feel something doesn't mean it's the full truth of your situation. Emotions are influenced by your thoughts, beliefs, and past experiences. That's why it's important to test your feelings against reality. Ask yourself, is what I'm feeling aligned with what's actually happening? Or is it shaped by fear, assumption, or something from my past? This kind of self-awareness allows you to take ownership of your emotions rather than being controlled by them. Managing your emotions also means knowing when to act on them and when to wait. There's a time for expressing how you feel, and there's a time for holding back. Wisdom is knowing the difference. Not every situation requires an emotional response, and not every feeling needs to be shared. Sometimes the best thing you can do is take a step back, breathe, and give yourself the space to process your emotions before deciding how to move forward. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. Suppression leads to frustration and emotional exhaustion. Instead, it's about finding healthy ways to express your emotions. Maybe it's through journaling, talking to a trusted friend, or even spending quiet time in reflection. The goal is to create space for your emotions to flow in a way that doesn't overwhelm you or negatively impact others. One of the greatest tools for managing your emotions is gratitude. Gratitude has a way of shifting your focus from what's wrong to what's right. When you start to feel overwhelmed by your emotions, take a moment to reflect on the blessings in your life. Gratitude doesn't deny the challenges you're facing, but it reminds you that there's always something good to hold on to, even in the midst of difficulty. Another important aspect of managing your emotions is setting boundaries. Your emotional energy is not limitless, and it's okay to say no to things that drain you. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it's necessary for your well-being. Whether it's declining an invitation, stepping away from negativity, or distancing yourself from toxic relationships, setting boundaries allows you to prioritize your emotional health. There will always be moments when your emotions feel overwhelming. Life brings unexpected challenges, heartbreaks, and setbacks. But even in those moments, you have the power to choose how you respond. You can let your emotions consume you, or you can use them as a catalyst for growth. The choice is yours, and it's a choice that defines the strength of your character. Learning to manage your emotions doesn't happen overnight. It's a process of growth, self-discovery, and resilience. There will be times when you get it right and times when you fall short. But with each step, you'll find yourself becoming more grounded, more confident, and more at peace. You'll begin to see your emotions not as something to fear or avoid, but as a part of the beautiful complexity of being human. When you take control of your emotions, you also take control of your life. You stop being reactive and start being intentional. You find clarity in the chaos and strength in the struggle. Your emotions no longer feel like a weight dragging you down, but a force lifting you up. And in that, you discover a freedom and peace that allows you to thrive no matter what life throws your way. So embrace your emotions. Treat them with care, manage them with wisdom, and let them guide you toward growth. Your feelings are a gift, and when you learn to handle them with grace, they become one of your greatest strengths. Life teaches us that emotions are part of the human experience, but not everyone will understand or respect them. That's why it's essential to guard your heart, not in a way that isolates you, but in a way that protects your peace and nurtures your strength. It's about learning to navigate life with wisdom, understanding that not everyone deserves access to your innermost thoughts and feelings. The ability to choose where and with whom to share your emotions is one of the most empowering lessons you can embrace. We all face moments when life feels heavy and emotions seem overwhelming. In these moments, it's natural to want to reach out, to seek comfort or understanding. But have you noticed that not everyone can provide the support you need? Some people, no matter how well-intentioned, might minimize your struggles, misunderstand your feelings, or even dismiss them altogether. It's not necessarily because they don't care sometimes. They simply lack the capacity to meet you where you are. Recognizing this truth allows you to stop seeking validation from the wrong places. When you stop expecting everyone to understand, you free yourself from the weight of disappointment. You realize that it's okay if some people don't get it. Their lack of understanding doesn't diminish the validity of your emotions. It's a reflection of their perspective, not a judgment on your worth. This shift in mindset is powerful because it redirects your energy from trying to be understood to focusing on your own growth and healing. One of the greatest strengths you can cultivate is the ability to process your emotions internally before sharing them externally. Not every thought or feeling needs to be spoken aloud. There's wisdom in taking the time to reflect, to sit with your emotions, and to understand what they're trying to tell you. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means honoring them by giving yourself the space to process them fully. When you take this time for yourself, you also learn to discern who truly deserves to hear your heart. There are people in your life who will walk with you through the storms, who will listen without judgment and support without conditions. These are the relationships worth investing in, but not everyone will fall into this category, and that's okay. Life isn't about having everyone in your corner, it's about surrounding yourself with the right people. Building boundaries around your emotions is not an act of selfishness, it's an act of self-respect. You're not shutting people out, you're creating space for your emotional well-being. Boundaries allow you to navigate relationships with clarity, ensuring that your heart is treated with the care it deserves. They empower you to say no when necessary, to walk away from situations that drain you, and to prioritize your peace above all else. When you understand the importance of boundaries, you also begin to see the value of emotional independence. This doesn't mean you have to go through life alone or without support. It means that your peace and happiness are not solely dependent on others. You learn to find strength within yourself, to rely on your own resilience, and to trust that you have the tools to navigate whatever comes your way. Emotional independence is a gift because it frees you from the need for external validation. You stop looking for others to approve of your feelings or to provide answers to your struggles. Instead, you find confidence in knowing that your emotions are valid simply because they're yours. This kind of self-assurance allows you to move through life with a quiet strength that isn't shaken by the opinions of others. But even as you protect your heart and cultivate emotional independence, remember that vulnerability is not a weakness. When shared in the right spaces with the right people, vulnerability is a bridge that connects us, deepens relationships, and fosters true understanding. The key is to be discerning about where and with whom you choose to be vulnerable. When you share your heart with people who have earned your trust, you experience the beauty of genuine connection. These are the moments that remind you why emotions are such a vital part of life. They bring depth to your relationships, clarity to your experiences, and healing to your soul. Life will always bring challenges, and emotions will ebb and flow like the tides. But when you approach your emotions with wisdom, you stop being tossed around by the waves. Instead, you become grounded, confident in your ability to navigate the highs and lows. You realize that your emotions don't control you, you control them. This journey isn't always easy. There will be moments of doubt, times when you feel tempted to let down your guard or give in to the pressures of others. But each time you choose to honor your emotions, to protect your heart, and to stand firm in your boundaries, you grow stronger. The world may not always understand your emotions, and that's okay. What matters is that you understand them, that you honor them, and that you use them to guide you toward a life of peace, strength, and authenticity. By doing so, you create a life where your emotions are no longer a source of vulnerability, but a wellspring of power and purpose. Emotions are a gift, a deep and beautiful part of the human experience. Yet they are also delicate and require careful stewardship. In a world that may not always understand or value the depth of your feelings, protecting your heart is an act of wisdom and strength. It's not about building walls, but about creating healthy boundaries that honor your emotional well-being. Your emotions are valid, even if others don't recognize them. The journey to understanding and managing them begins with you. When you take the time to process your feelings, discern where to share them, and cultivate emotional independence, you step into a life of greater peace and resilience. You stop seeking validation from others and find confidence in the truth of who you are. The world may not always care for your emotions the way you hope, but that doesn't diminish their worth. Guard your heart with wisdom, trust in your strength, and embrace the freedom that comes from honoring your feelings. In doing so, you pave the way for a life filled with genuine connections, inner peace, and unshakable purpose.